So the second thing you need to understand too is if your son isn't ready for a wife, he isn't ready for a girlfriend. Okay? Now, honestly, this is an area where if people want to disagree with me, that's fine. I don't care. I'm right. Okay? I have no doubt that I am right on this. And I will practice this until the day I die. We've done this with our kids, and this type of thing is not popular. But folks, I believe it's biblical, and I just believe it's common sense. Now, once again, nobody come up to me after church and say, at what age can my son have a girlfriend, according to you? That's stupid. You don't put a number on that, all right? Knock it off. Knock it off with your checklist. Knock it off with your stupid numbers. Knock it off with your rules. I'm not going to create a number in this church or for my family when they're ready. I'm not going to tell my son, when you turn this age, then you can go get a girlfriend. It might be different from son to son. There's a lot of things, but let's look at a few things from the scriptures to help with this. So first off, we know in Genesis 2, it talks about, for this cause shall a man leave his father and mother and cleave unto his wife. They twain shall be one flesh. Okay? That's the cause. That's why you leave your father and mother. You're going to go start your own family. You're going to go be joined unto your wife. Okay? That is as natural as anything for a young man to want that with a woman and to be with them and to start a family. That is normal. That is a wonderful thing. But understand that when it comes to that physical relationship that every man is going to desire, no man should fulfill that desire until it is with a wife. Right. And the Bible's very clear about that. But let's look what it says in 1 Corinthians chapter 6. So, at what age can they date? Well, let me ask you, why in the world would you want your son, your young man, to date a girl that he is years away from sleeping with? Why would you do that? Because look what the Bible says in 1 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 18. It says, flee fornication. Okay, that means run. Run away. Flee fornication. Every sin that a man doeth is without the body, but he that committeth fornication sinneth against his own body. So the Bible tells us we're supposed to flee fornication. Now, what in the world do you think your young man is going to be tempted to do when he is with another young lady? Well, we'll chaperone it, we'll supervise it. Listen, you can only do that for so long. The longest 6 months of my life was when my wife and I were engaged with each other, and I never hated my parents more. I never hated my sisters more. A lot of times they have our sisters watch us. I mean, you want to talk about just a frustrating time. Longest 6 months of my life. And, and I'm thankful for that. I think it's good to have that. It teaches you some self-control. During that time where you're dating and where you're engaged, you prove to yourself, I can behave myself. You prove to your spouse that you can behave yourself. It's good training, because when it comes to behaving ourselves, we're supposed to behave ourselves the rest of our life. Now, I think it's easier when you're married. But at the same time, there's often temptations that come even for married people. And so that time of misery where you're just dating and can't physically be with each other, I do think that is good training time. But boy, I don't think we want to overdo it. Folks, this year-long, 2-year-long engagement stuff is just stupid. That is so foolish. It makes no sense. And I'm not creating a rule saying you can't be engaged for more than a year. Sometimes there's reasons for a long engagement. Okay? If your girl you're dating lives on the other side of the country, well, you might be able to make that last longer. If she's living in the same town as you, that's probably not going to work out very well. There's a lot of things you got to factor in, and parents, you need to help out in this thing. You need to pay attention. And I'm just going to tell you right now, young men, okay, they go through the brain dead stage at the junior high years. All right, that just lock them up in their room during the junior high years, feed them bread and water, don't let them out. They learn nothing, they're good for nothing. That is the worst stage in the world. But then they kind of snap out of it. They mature a little bit. Their brain starts functioning again. and then they find a girl, and then they go back to even dumber than ever before, okay? Why is it that hunters like hunting during the rut season? What is the rut season? That's when they're going for the doe. And when the bucks are going for the doe, they're not real smart. And that's when you get a chance to kill them. And I'm telling you, a boy in hot pursuit of a girl is an idiot, all right? It's just, I'm not picking on him. It's called nature. But folks, they're dumber than a box of rocks. You can't teach them anything. You can't reason with them. And I got to be careful how I talk about these things. But listen, that young man that's around that young girl, there's chemistry there that will dumb you down more than Pa ever thought about dumbing anybody down. You don't think straight. You're going to think things are okay that are not okay. It's just your brain does not work when you're in that situation. Now, it's like some people don't know this. A lot of young people, a lot of men, they did whatever they wanted when they were a teenager. Some of us did things the right way. We did it the hard way. And I believe it. The way I did it ultimately makes everything better. But it's hard. Okay? It is a challenge. It's worth it. But I'm just going to tell you right now, I'm thankful for the prison dating that we did. I think that's probably a good thing to call it. The supervised visits, the buzzing in the room and all that kind of, it didn't quite go that far, but it was pretty close. I'm thankful for that. It's a good thing that my mother-in-law was able to tell me when to go home. Boy, I can't imagine that right now. I'm glad my mother-in-law can't tell me when to go home. I'm very thankful for those things. But listen, your young men, they are going to literally lose their mind when they find that female, and you better help them out. The Bible says flee fornication. Why would you put them in that situation when you would say as a father they're years from being ready to get married?